Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm excited again to be talking today with Todd Creager on the Let's Talk About Love, Sex, and Infidelity podcast. This is like the fifth time we've gotten together to talk about meditation and relationships. So I'm really excited to
Yeah.
continue our conversation today. But before we dive into what we're going to talk about, let me just share with you a little bit about Todd. He is a licensed marriage and family therapist and licensed clinical social worker with what, 35 plus years of experience helping couples heal and individuals actually to heal themselves from crises such as trauma, infidelity, and a whole other host of things. And he also helps couples rekindle the passion and aliveness in their relationships. Todd, you're a firm believer in healing modalities and combining them into your practice to get optimal results for the couples and individuals that you work with. That's why we're talking about meditation today. You also incorporate things such as EMDR and emotional focused therapy to help promote healing and well-being for your clients. You, Todd, have been practicing meditation, what, for over 40 years now, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you've personally experienced the transformation it's made, not just in your own self, but in your relationship with your lovely wife, Sherry, right? And I think she even
Yeah.
now meditates because she's seen the power of meditation. So last month we talked about the meditation as a way to uplift the energy of your partner,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you talk about that and how meditation really helps you to do that and how it affects the relationship. So if you haven't listened to that episode, we've got that link down in the show notes for you today. But today you're in for a real treat because we are going to talk about breaking through the barriers to intimacy and how meditation can really, really help you do that, right?
Absolutely.
Even if your
Absolutely.
partner doesn't meditate, right?
Absolutely. Even if, yeah, just doesn't make it, well, look, I'm not gonna say it doesn't make a difference. It's nice when both people meditate. My wife just shared a meditation she did today on this meditation that helps you reprogram your DNA. I mean, it's phenomenal. So I love that she's into it. Yeah. But yeah, no, it definitely can help a relationship even with one person, if one
That's
person does it.
awesome. That's awesome.
Because well, everything affects everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I love how in the meditation program that you mentioned how we are not destined to live out or relive our parents' relationship. So let's start off today kind of talking about our parents' relationships
Hmm.
and what you've observed in your work with couples about how those things are handed down to us from generation to generation and
Hmm.
how they can really affect our relationships with our partner. And this really does relate to breaking through the barriers to intimacy, because I think sometimes those things that have been handed down to us by not just our parents, but society
Hmm.
kind of make it impossible or harder for us to be
Hmm.
truly intimate with our partner. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just got off with a session with a man who I'm seeing the couple. I just saw them once, and now I'm seeing him today. And seeing her tomorrow, and then I'll see them again as a couple. But he cheated on her in a variety of ways, and he describes his family and his wife's family. I mean, they were pretty disconnected families, and they had broken families. Neither of them saw parents that had a connection. So when we were getting into why he cheated, it was like he never saw a couple, and neither did she really, but definitely he didn't ever see a couple where they learned how to create an adventure together. They
Yeah.
never saw it, and even an intimacy adventure, which is probably the best adventure of all between your committed partner and you, is an intimate adventure. They never saw it. I mean, sure, they had that in the very beginning of their relationship. So we talked about how important it is for him, at least one of the things that's important for him, so he doesn't become a repeat offender, is to create an intimacy adventure with his wife. And he said, yeah, we've been talking more openly since we saw you, and it's been so great. I never saw it like that. I said, yeah, we all need adventures. So it's just
Yeah.
another area where if you've had parents they never were that intimate and connected, why should you be? That's the model in your brain. That's the way your neurons have connected in your brain even. So why would we be capable of having these kinds of connection automatically?
Yeah.
And the good news is we can, but we got to learn how.
Well, don't you think one of the things that like is most often handed down is that like hiding the
Oh,
whole sexual connection or deeper connection,
yeah.
not just in front of your kids, but in society, right? It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah. We're many of us have learned to hide parts of us that are actually natural and human. That again, part of having an adventure with your partner in intimacy is learning how to be open, expressive, and that's not what many of us have seen.
wow, wow. So, I like that whole idea of intimacy adventure or whatever, but I just kind of want to talk to you a little bit further, maybe, and we you can kind of tie this into this adventure part because that's a brand new topic or a brand new
I
word
know,
that you haven't even shared with me. I'm
I
like
know.
writing it down here, like, whoa, it's a whole new word.
Yeah,
But let's talk about that in deeper and like, what does it take for people to be able to break through that barrier to intimacy and to create that intimate adventure? Like, what is it that you
okay.
see,
Yeah,
it's often like the thing that's holding people back and all of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one of the things is exposure to what is possible, right? If we don't have a vision of it in our minds, and we do have visions, it's usually the visions of our parents' relationship.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble, lots of us. So that's really what we visualize. So yeah, we have to learn what is possible, and there is a lot of people like myself that help kind of hold a light, a vision of what is possible for people. And
Mhm.
it's like, really? Yeah, that is possible. Yes, you could outgrow your parents. You could evolve beyond your parents. So the first step is to recognize that there are other options. And then the second thing is to learn them. Well, I would say that a precursor to that is being open to the unknown, which we'll talk about with meditation. But when you're open to the unknown, that's usually where the answers are with relationships. It's not, I've said this thousands of times to couples, and I'm saying it's 35 plus years, but it's now 40 years. I celebrated 40 years in private practice. Started when I'm 24. Now I'm 64, going on 34. Come on now. But, um, but I've said that that we have to be willing to, um, be open to what we don't know. See, what we do and we say and what we think that's the problem. But really, what's the problem is what we don't say and we don't do and we don't think. Like we got to be open to new new things, otherwise we just keep recreating the old. So I think this is a good question you're asking. One is to realize there's other options out there. Two is
Right.
to to bring up our courage to be open to something unfamiliar and new that might be really, really good. And the
Yes.
three is to go out and find the people and the places and the books and the that teach you how to do it.
Yep.
And help you get past your defenses.
Yep. And I think that's why people see therapists these days or get involved in some sort of coaching or online program to open your horizons because there is a lot we don't even know that we don't know, right?
That is really it. I mean, I always say that I don't tell people what to do as we talk, that what resonates with them is what's already there. It's like, oh, this makes sense. I didn't think about it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
we're not inventing anything. We're just pointing them to there's more to you than what you've seen. There's more to relationships than what you've seen. And it's really difficult to do that on your own. That's why it's helpful to have a program, a virtual thing, a live thing, whatever it is to help you move beyond.
Okay, I have another question before we move on to question 3 and 4 that kind of tie into this. So, you have a lot of people that, and sorry to spring this because you're not going to know what I'm going to ask you, but you You have a lot of
You do
people
this every
that
time,
in
every
your
time.
I know, in your practice that come to see you that are dealing with trauma such as infidelity. That's a huge thing that you are an expert at helping people with. So can you, and you were just talking about that couple that you're seeing is, and you're talking about this opening them up to this adventure and all of that. I mean, how do you go from dealing with infidelity, then to be open to, creating
Mhm.
some sort of
Yeah,
intimacy
yeah,
and all of that. And then maybe how, meditation can help that. I don't know, but I'm curious because I'm sure a lot of people have that
yeah,
question.
yeah. Oh, yes. And obviously, when a person, I mean, look, if this person hears this, they'll know it's about them, but they'll not know. Nobody's going to know who this is, but
But it can
they,
help other people.
yeah, it can. So here's the thing. So here's what happened this morning because it's so recent. So they had one session and it clicked some of the things that we talked about and understanding it, and and this it was just the beginning of their journey. I just saw them one
Right.
time, right?
Right.
Well, she found out today that she has an STI, okay, sexually transmitted
Yeah.
infection. And so she she ended up saying to her husband, "So I just made an appointment with the divorce attorney on Friday." So that was basically what
That
happened.
was the
Right now,
beginning of your session.
that was today, right? But
Yeah.
I don't. I'm seeing her tomorrow.
Okay.
So now that I kind of get it, you know.
Hmm.
Are we going to, am I going to see you tomorrow and say, well, forget all that. Let's just help you be open to your partner and have an intimacy adventure? Of course not, right? We have to deal with feelings. So it's going to take time to process it. In my heart of hearts, I don't think that's really what's going to happen. I think she'll calm down because I see potential with him and I see potential with them.
Yeah.
And so I don't think so, but I don't know. That's how it is, but definitely how we go from the infidelity to the openness, it's a process. We have to help people heal from the infidelity. Of course, sometimes doing a trauma treatment like EMDR can help, but meditation would be a good thing for him and for her. For him, he learns how to have a different kind of adventure because
Hmm.
meditation, in a way, it's his own adventure.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons he did some of those things is to have adventures when he had the freedom to be alone and do what he did. But I'm not saying it's the only thing, that was part of it. And I think for her, meditation could help her learn how to not to get out of her reactivity.
Yes. I kind
And
of knew you
so,
were going to say that, right?
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
once she's out of her reactivity, she could be more in touch with what's true, what's really her intuition. And
Hmm.
if what's true in her intuition is to, uh, leave him eventually, then she'll do that. But if it's in her intuition is, no, this guy, he's woken up and I think we have some opportunity and it'll take me some time, but then she'll follow that. And meditation helps people kind of get wise to their, get connected to their own inner wisdom about what to do and how to deal with things and not just be kind of thrown up by the superficial waves of reactivity. You go to the
Exactly.
depths of who they are, like the deeper, stiller voices inside of them. So I think that meditation is a great help. It helps people not get so caught up in all the escalations that could happen.
Yeah, let's go dive a little bit deeper into that reactivity because I think that's like one of the things, whether or not you're dealing with infidelity or you've been married to someone for a long time, it's easy to get caught up into reactivity to whatever they say. And that can itself
Yeah.
be a barrier to
Yes.
intimacy if we're not
Oh,
really
yeah.
listening to them or
Yeah.
our own agenda or our own thoughts. And once we calm ourselves down with meditation, we can really hear people and we feel better at the same time, not being so reactive. Am I correct about that?
Absolutely. I mean, we live our lives protecting ourselves oftentimes. So we
Mhm.
protect ourselves in two major ways. We protect ourselves from others because we don't want to get hurt. And we actually have walls within ourselves too, where we protect ourselves from feeling certain pains or certain triggers. And so there's walls within and there's wall between. There's walls within us and between us. And so, one of the themes that we're talking about here in terms of breakthroughs to intimacy is we actually need to learn how to be more intimate with ourselves. And
Ah,
once we could be intimate with ourselves and not be afraid of, here's a good example. You have someone who has a internalized critical voice. Maybe one of their parents was critical, or
who doesn't?
right, who doesn't, right? So this is a common theme, universal.
Yeah.
And so here I have this critical voice inside of me,
Hmm.
and then my wife says to me, "I'm really disappointed because you did this, this, or this." Now, in a way, in order for me to become a good listener, I need to love myself so much that even when she's disappointed, I'm not obeying the critical voice. Then and only then can I be present for her. Otherwise, I'm going to just protect myself.
Yeah.
I need to see I'm a good person. So heck with you for making me feel anything but that I'm the best person that's ever lived in this world, you know. And so I need to learn to appreciate that in me, and meditation can help with that. At the same time, the other protection against you, as I practice learning to love all of you, even the parts of you that threaten me, then
Yeah.
I am more capable of being present for you too.
Hmm.
So, and just meditation is one of those tools, along with EMDR and things like that. But meditation is one of those phenomenal tools that help people access parts of them that they could love rather than parts that they walled off, and parts of their partner that they could love even though they've defended against.
Yeah.
So it's the beauty of meditation.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Well, I've got a couple more questions that I'm going to ask you today, but before we dive into that, let's share with the listeners more about your meditation for self and interpersonal healing program. So, they can go and check it out themselves and see if it's something that, is going to help them feel better, have a better relationship. But I'm going to let you explain it to the audience today,
Sure,
a little
sure,
bit more about it so that they have
sure.
a better understanding when we refer to it, what it really is.
This program, we changed the name of the program from
Mhm.
Meditation for Couples to Meditation for Self and Interpersonal Healing. And the reason we changed the name is it's still got aspects of being a couple. As a matter of fact, one of the things in the practice guide is for those people where both people are participating. There is a special couples meditation that they do. However, I did notice in doing this program for a while now that I needed to, what were we really doing? What we're really doing is self-healing and interpersonal healing, whether it's with my intimate partner or other significant others or my boss or my friends or whatever. So it seemed to be more, I think it was a better description of what we're really
Yes.
doing here.
Yes.
And it is a program that it's a can't miss. If you practice it, it's going to help. That's it. And it's a program where every month there's a theme, and you get me in video talking about the theme of the month. And there are very important themes that, listening from your depths, opening your heart to love, and other kinds of themes like that. And if every month with those themes, there's two auditory meditations, one
Hmm.
in the beginning of the month, one in the middle of the month. And you're there to practice it. You practice it. You practice it in a variety of ways that I talk about.
Hmm.
And along with that, there's a practice guide that gives you the meditation written out so that if you want to try without my voice, because you'll hear my
Hmm.
voice probably at first for a while, you could listen, you could read, you could do it on your own. There's also the couple meditation I just talked about for couples. There's also practices and tips to take what you learn in the meditation of that month to everyday life, to all the times you're not meditating. And so it's a very thorough program. There's every other month you get a live virtual retreat with me where you get to do some longer meditations and also ask me questions that are specifically about meditation that can help you as in yourself and interpersonal healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's bonuses too. There's lots of
Oh, yeah.
bonuses that you get
Yeah.
upon signing up. So it's I mean, for the value you get and the price you pay, I mean, I can't imagine and we're not doing it.
Right,
This is for
right.
the world.
I
I
know.
really,
Well,
it's
and
something
that
I'm passionate about. We gotta do this thing. It's amazing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think the biggest thing that we realized is that meditation isn't really just limited to having a wonderful relationship. It's this whole
Oh,
healing aspect. And we do talk about that in our conversations together about how meditation is a healing modality. We didn't want to just limit it to people that wanted a better relationship, because really the same things that you're teaching to these couples can help people that are dealing with traumas in their life.
yes, yes, absolutely.
And that's the key, right?
Yeah, traumas, such as infidelity, but any other kinds of traumas when even childhood traumas that are still affecting you in the present. So it really goes beyond just couples. Even though since I work so much with relationships, I do make sure that there's a relationship aspect in the meditations every month. But it really is about self-healing as well as interpersonal of
Oh,
all kinds of relationships, including, of course, intimate relationships.
exactly. And the thing I need to add in here too, from my own personal experience, if you've got people, because we're coming up on the holidays, right? Soon we got, all kinds of holidays and family gatherings. And if you've got people in your family that trigger you, and I have a story all around that with my son who was triggering me, and I started meditating, and I was able to, as you say, access that part of me that was no longer triggered by what he
Yeah,
was saying, and it shifted the whole relationship. And you know what? I didn't have to tell him. I did the change, right?
that's right.
So,
That's
that's
right.
another, way it can help people. If
Yep.
you've got a dysfunctional family, which I'm sure most of everybody does, you know, and you can't change them, but you can change how you react to them.
Hmm.
And that can change the whole dynamic right
Yeah.
there.
It,
So this also, not just traumas, but interpersonal relationships, whether it's with your child, your husband, your annoying sister-in-law or brother or mother or whoever, it will
hmm.
help you be more equipped to deal with all of that. So, well,
Yeah.
enough said, but I just want to let everybody know who's listening in or watching us that we've got the link right down below in the notes. So if you want to go check out Todd's program, it's just $47 a month.
Hmm.
It's a real bargain for what you get from Todd in return. And people pay thousands of dollars to come to you to help them with their problems, right? And you can get in this same program and learn this additional healing modality that can really change your life for the better, right? All
Touche.
right, so let's dive into our excuse me, next question that I have for you, Todd, is really, how does meditation help us to access that higher belief or higher part of ourselves that will help us to shed those beliefs that were handed on to us either by society or our parents and our parents before them. The limiting beliefs, right?
Sure.
Self-limiting,
Sure.
things
Yeah.
about relationships, whatever.
Well, I think meditation has been something that's been talked about by sages for thousands of years, and
Mhm.
it's become more mainstream. And I know there's different kinds of meditations, but the meditation that I teach in this program is really about accessing a part of you that is beyond your mind. That's the best way I can say it. That the mind is a tape recorder,
Mhm.
and we listen to it, and it keeps us in the same mode. Meditation gives you glimpses and experiences of who you are without your mind, um, and and of course, I also help people see that meditation is not about not having a mind. It's not about not thinking. We all think. We've been conditioned to follow everything our mind tells us. But in the meditation, you learn to have moments and more moments of being disengaged from your mind. And it's in this place, and it's hard to explain it until you do. I mean, I'm explaining it, but
Right.
it's hard to get it until you do it, I should say, is when you have these moments, you suddenly have um, it's almost like seeing the world from 10,000 feet up, and you see options you didn't see when you were in it. So you're not
Right.
in it. You're not in the drama anymore. You're in this deepest place that's already yours. It's just that we have not been taught to pay attention to it. We haven't, and there's reasons why more and more people are meditating because they're discovering that we have this inner power that is so it's such a gift, and
Yeah.
so it helps us access that place, that quiet, loving, open, uh, I'd say innocent place where we now don't have to come from all the programming. And that's what gives us some options. And it doesn't mean that we don't slip back into it, but now you know where to go to get
Yep.
out of it again.
Yep.
And meditation is something that the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Right. I think from like my experience, I would describe it as it gives you the ability to be um, more of an observer of
Hmm.
what's happening
Hmm.
in the moment and be able to compartmentalize that
Hmm. Yeah.
and not just dive into the whatever the more primitive side of ourselves that's going to protect ourselves
Hmm.
in the heat of the moment. If you find yourself in the heat of the moment of an argument
Hmm.
or you
Yeah.
find out something that your spouse has done and or whatever it may be, or your
Hmm.
sister-in-law said something about criticize something, right, when she came to your house for Thanksgiving. I don't know, but right, it just you become
Well,
the
look,
observer
you do
before
become
you
the
speak.
observer.
What?
And you're not, look, meditation biologically is shown that it resets the nervous system. I mean, there's been studies, lots of research shows how it resets the nervous system. So what used to be a threat may not be a threat, or maybe you experience it as a threat on a scale of 0 to 10, it was a 10. You meditate, and it's not only a 2, and it's a level
Yes.
of 2 or 4 even. You're able to act in much healthier, proactive ways than when you're experiencing it like it's the end of the world. So it definitely resets the nervous system as well, which gives us that, like you said, that ability to, because we are observing, that we're getting in touch with the part of us that isn't our thoughts, our emotions, sensations, but that can see them, that can
Yeah.
observe them. What's
Yeah.
that part of us that's aware? It's our awareness
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
always there. It's always there.
It's how we use it though, or how we
Yeah,
think about it, right? And that's, I
yeah.
think, really the power of meditation. So, with that being said, I've got my last question. It may be my last question. Who knows what you're going to say? And I might have another question, but it's really how can we tap into the ability to transform those past relationship hurts, such as infidelity, trauma, a dysfunctional family, or more, into opportunities where you can grow your relationship in a whole new way that you and can you and in that when you answer that question, can you share any examples so that people can really get an idea of, yeah, this person was dealing with that and this is how it helped them.
Well, I have hundreds of examples
I know.
because there's a phenomenon called post-traumatic growth, right? So we have
Right.
post-traumatic stress disorder, of course, and that's something I help people through EMDR and through meditation, and but also post-traumatic growth, where people, so many, even the couple I saw until they got the bad news today, that they had experienced a kind of communication and openness with each other that they had not experienced before, ever.
Right.
And so there is, we have capacities that get access sometimes after a crisis that we didn't have access to before because we were so stuck in our ways.
Hmm.
So while, I kind of a funny thing is what crises have in common with meditation is they both open you up to new possibilities. And so,
Mhm.
um, again, I'm not telling people they have to stay if there's infidelity, or uh, they have to stay if they have a partner that gets reactive and gets angry at them, or there's domestic violence or whatever. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm just saying that we personally have the capacity, as you were saying, to access parts of us that aren't so caught up in the reactivity. And
Right.
once we access it and we come from that place, things can change and we could have a real positive effect on the people around us too.
Yeah.
Maybe that person truly has that potential and it comes out because of what you've done. Or maybe the person doesn't and then you exit left or whatever. But that's really there is we have capacities. They're in there. We have the capacity to love better, to open ourselves up, to be courageous. And like I said, crises oftentimes almost forces us to take a closer look at what we have been, where we've been lazy, where we've been avoiding, where we've been defensive. And the meditation definitely is something that helps people also access these parts of them are that have capacities beyond what we're used to,
Yeah. Yeah. I
beyond the
think
familiar, beyond the familiar.
right, right. I think that, I've shared this with you before, but I also had gone through infidelity in a prior relationship and in my prior first marriage. And, I think back now about, all of the stuff I went through, and I really wished, even though I didn't stay in that relationship, I know now from meditating that it could have really helped me personally deal with all of the crises, ongoing drama, all of that, and heal myself that much faster, and to be deal with it in probably a more mature and less reactive way than I did at times.
Yeah, sure.
But and that could be said with about any relationship when you're
Sure.
dealing with other people. But I do know now from practicing, I think I'm going on probably 5 or 6 years, maybe longer. I haven't counted, but it definitely has shifted everything for me. And I feel like, as we talked about before, you're able to see things from a 10,000 square stair foot view rather than in the fire of it, right? So,
Absolutely.
if there's anybody listening here,
Oh, I hope they are.
I know they are, that's going through something right now, and you're just looking for some relief, way to self-care for yourself. Meditation is really a very powerful tool for many, many reasons, right? And not just that,
Yeah.
but for the whole health side as well, right?
Yeah, the feedback I get from people that have been doing this program is just that. That it's helping them become less defensive, helping them experience a joy within them that was always there that they didn't know they had. It's quite nice to know that there's a place within us that we could go that can help us live better lives.
Yeah. And those people have only been doing it for 3 or 4 months,
Correct.
and they're
Yeah.
getting results like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And I think some of them are also working with you as well. And this is a
Some
great,
are, some are, some
yeah,
aren't, but
some
yeah,
are and some aren't.
yeah,
So it doesn't matter if you're, have got something that, a trauma or whatever, because there's plenty of things that are triggering people these days going on in our world, where meditation can also really help
yeah,
them feel better.
absolutely.
Well, is
Absolutely.
there anything else you want to share with the listeners today? Or we,
Well, I mean, I would say that there's, I think, nothing more important than feeling alive, and the more we break through to intimacy with ourselves and to other people, the more alive we are. And if there's a tool such as this program I'm doing, the meditation for self and interpersonal healing, that's out there to help you be more alive, I would jump on it because again, I see this every time I talk with you, but this has been a passion project for me because it's a way to reach a lot of people. I get real busy and I can't help everybody one on one or one on two,
Right.
and so it's a way to help give to the world at large and to help them have tools to help them be the best they can be and have the best lives they can be. So I'm just hoping that you all go for it. You'll be happy you did. I'm not from the
Awesome.
South, so I don't know why I said y'all, but it just sounded like I wanted to say y'all.
Well, thank you, Todd. It's been a great conversation with you today, and we're going to continue this on next month. So stay tuned, join Todd's mailing list and or subscribe to the channel, and you'll get notified of his next podcast
Mhm.
because this is and YouTube videos because we're putting this on multiple platforms.
Sure.
And we always create a lot of other content just other than our conversations we have here that are very helpful to your audience and your listeners. So thank you. And I look forward
Sure.
to talking to you again next month.
Same here. Take care.
Take care.